So I'm here today with three wonderful, amazing individuals. I want you guys to all three of you talk a little bit about yourself. I've got Don Nelson, I've got Kat, and I've got Bill here. Let me put on my glasses so I can read everybody's name clearly. I apologize for that. And of course, Don, we're going to start with you.
Okay. I'm Don Nelson. I'm the Senior Vice President of Operations at Pride Industries. I have been here for 19 years, coming the end of January, so it's been a long run here at Pride as well. But I served almost 25 years in the Air Force, doing aircraft maintenance and then doing civil engineering work as a heating and air conditioning technician the last part of my career in the Air Force. I retired as a Chief Master Sergeant in 2005 and was able to join Pride in 2007, and I've been here ever since.
Thank you for your service, and I can't wait to hear all about what you bring and your experience and more about Pride Industries as well. Kat, tell us a little bit about you.
My name is Kat Maudrew. I'm the Public Relations Director at Pride Industries. I've been here about 5 years. My background prior to that is a couple decades in radio and TV. And it is a joy and an honor to get to tell the stories of Pride Industries and the wonderful people that we help find employment and empowerment through the mission of Pride Industries.
Outstanding. Thank you, Kat. And not least,
we
have who's at the beach, by the way. I like that.
Yes.
We have Bill. Bill, tell us about you.
I'm Bill Peatman. I'm marketing director here at Pride Industries. Similar to Kat, it's a privilege to be able to share these stories of our both individual success stories of people with disabilities who have, experienced life-changing employment, and our corporate story as kind of going from a fledgling nonprofit to 4,000 people, $450 million enterprise.
Outstanding.
So it's a great place to be.
Well, we have only 15 minutes, but I can't wait to dive into this. And I'm just going to go ahead and start. And I'll start with Dawn. As a veteran, you've spent many years at Pride Industry, like you had mentioned. How has the organization supported your career growth while honoring the values of service, teamwork, and mission that are so important to the military community?
Yeah, my experience at Pride, even joining the team, was really, when they were looking at bringing me on, was because of my military experience and my skill set in doing base operations support services. Starting, my first job with Pride was at Los Angeles Air Force Base. Now it's Los Angeles Space Force Base. But back in 2007, when we started up that contract there, was really how my leadership and capabilities and my military experience would just kind of weave into that project there with the Air Force customer, who understood really the benefit of having a veteran civil engineering person to come on the team for Pride, and Pride really reached out and made that happen. And then just being embraced throughout the years by Pride leadership and Pride team members who really do respect the value of what veterans bring to the team. They know the training and the requirements and the sacrifice that veterans have put out through their career, and just embrace that when they come to Pride and know they're really getting a very valuable person with great experience that will benefit the team and benefit the customer in the long run, because they're even comfortable with the experience. They understand what you've done and know that the system and can work really well on a military installation, with a military customer. So it's been very beneficial.
Excellent. Pride Industries is now celebrating its 60th anniversary this year, which is an incredible milestone. What does this moment represent for the organization, and how has your mission evolved while remaining true to your founding values?
Yeah, 60 years, long time, right? I mean, I've been here for almost 20 of those years, but seeing the evolution of where we started when I came to Pride, a lot smaller company, and our growth that we've successfully had over the last 19 years, 20 years, not just in my area of business, but in other areas of the business. It is really, the team has really seen that growth and understands the benefit of growing to be able to support more people with disabilities and more veterans with disabilities. And starting a lot of these federal contracts on military installation is a great way to do it for our veteran outreach. That's been a great experience there. I think our next evolution, 60 years and beyond, is to continue that growth and look at more of the federal opportunities that we're pursuing and how we can help additional veterans on those contracts and on those opportunities, and provide more opportunities for people with disabilities across the community.
It's early on. You can obviously tell that Pride Industries had seen the value in hiring veterans, military spouses, and people with disabilities from with your 60th anniversary milestone. Can you share some of the current workforce statistics, including perhaps like the number of veterans that are employed, the number of military spouses within the organization?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're 4,000 employees strong across the company. In we're at almost 8% of that team is veterans. If we kind of go down a level to all of our operations team members that I oversee and lead, get the benefit and the joy of leading that team, about 2,900 people across my organization. We're at a 12% veteran number.
Wow.
About 313 veterans across the operations portfolio. Mainly, a lot of those folks are at military installations, government customers, because it really, when a veteran can go right back to work on a military base, they feel at home, they feel supported, they know the systems, they're very comfortable there, and our customers and team members are very comfortable with the veterans there because they were maybe part of the installation when they were active duty. So what a great resource to be able to hire veterans on these installations and on our contracts. But we got a really good number. We're trying to get to that 10% for the whole organization.
Excellent.
When really there's only about 5% of the national population is a military veteran. So we've got really good numbers.
Yeah, you do. You obviously do. Can you also tell us the story of how the organization was founded and why supporting people with disability and the disability community was such an urgent priority from the very beginning?
Yeah, a small group of families up at St. Luke's Episcopalian Church up in Auburn wanted to find some kind of employment for their adult children with disabilities. The worst fear of a parent is what happens to their adult child with disabilities when they're gone. What kind of supports, supports would they have to continue living and to have a career and have a job? And they started real small, crafts and doing craft shows and stuff like that. And Pride was really formed out of that church and that basement of that church in Auburn. And in the early 80s, our former CEO, Mike Ziegler, who passed away, and really turned Pride into a business enterprise. You've got to have some dollars to be able to support your mission. And he really turned it into a business enterprise that was enabled at that point to really expand and grow and provide more opportunities for people with disabilities. I don't think the group of parents ever thought or ever even dreamed that Pride could become what we are today when they were sitting around the table in the basement of the church. So what a great story over the last 60 years.
It is. It's a testament of who you are. And Pride Industries has become an employer of choice for many veterans and service disabled veterans. What is it, besides maybe being on military installations, that you feel is, what is about the culture, the values, and the work environment that resonates so strongly with the military community? What do you think that is?
Yeah, even here at the corporate office, it's not any different. It's really veterans are embraced. We've got our veteran lanyards that we've had to identify us as veterans, and people know that we're veterans and understand the commitment that veterans have made over the years to service to their country and then continue to serve by providing and doing a mission to employ people with disabilities. So we're mission oriented from the beginning, and we continue to be mission oriented as veterans working at Pride. But the values that Pride holds are very much in line with what what our military values when we're in the service. So those values kind of just continue on in our Pride service now, and help us, drive that mission focus and continue to stay on track with hiring people with disabilities and providing opportunities for people with disabilities and veterans with disabilities.
Mhm. And I think early on too, you also created an employee resource group, which is outstanding. What other programs and resources or initiatives are in place to support veterans, transitioning service members, and families throughout military families throughout their careers?
Yeah, there are a lot of programs in place, from the Army Pays program, where we can help veterans, especially the Army veterans, find an opportunity to at least do an interview to practice their skill sets. But also, our talent acquisition team encourages veterans to get in touch with us and practice their interviews, and we'll help them with those skill sets, whether there's a job here at Pride or not. We want to be able to add value to their ability to attain employment outside of Pride, if that's the case, but to help them with that training and experience. Because the one thing we've never had to do when we joined the military is we really didn't have to interview for it. But 20 years later, or 25 years later, or 30 years later, when you retire, now you've got to figure out how to do that interview, and so it's a whole new training curve for us. I think also apprenticeships. We've done apprenticeships, and we've done programs similar to Hire Our Heroes, where we brought in an apprentice trainee that we just retired and gave them experience on the job and what it's like to work inside of a corporate office here. Those kind of things, and then the military evaluation tool, where they can plug in their current career field, and it can identify a very similar civilian job that we may have at Pride, if we have one open, but also connects them to our transition or our talent acquisition team members that can help them with their future, job endeavors. So we really want to be a support structure to veterans, whether there's an opportunity at Pride or not.
Yeah, it's obvious you have a lot of support and a lot of great mentorship. I bet you have some pretty amazing testimonials. I'm wondering if you could share some testimonials of success stories, whether it be a veteran, an individual with a disability, or a military spouse, that truly capture the heart of Pride Industries' mission.
Yeah, I think one of our rehabilitation counselors, she came to Pride on our Fort Rucker contract in Alabama, to come in and be able to help counsel employees and provide supports. When her husband, who was a military member, she's a military veteran, but she came to us in a civilian role as a rehabilitation counselor. And when her husband transferred to Fort Bliss, we were very accommodating, because we really liked what she did and we understand her skill sets and her value, and we were able to move her to Fort Bliss so that she could support the team there. Then subsequent after that, her husband got transferred to another installation, but we were able to work out where she could still work remotely and still support the team. So supporting not only a military veteran, but a military spouse of an active duty military Army veteran who's now since retired, but having that capability and be able to accommodate our veterans. Another really good success story, we have an HVAC technician at Fort Bliss that really struggled with employment because of his military disabilities, and really covered those things up to his past employers, because he didn't want to disclose those.
Sure.
Because he might not be kept on. And I think coming to Pride's allowed him to share those, allowed us to accommodate those and help him through those, and he's just flourished. I think there's a lot of growth potential in him, that he can move up from technician and move up the ladder in Pride, because of our support structure for veterans.
Outstanding. I think that all the programs that you've done not only support them for the future, but it helps with the recruiting and also retaining, which is so important in today's workforce. So I think you guys really have an upper edge on that to understand the support and the mentorship. And I want to commend you for that. For our last question, as Pride Industries looks forward to the future, what are some priorities for the next chapter, particularly in expanding opportunities for veterans, people with disabilities, and underserved communities?
Yeah, I think as we look towards the future, the opportunities are definitely out there to grow our and expand our capabilities in employing people with disabilities. Our training curriculum that will help people with disabilities grow. Sometimes our success stories are really that they've come to Pride, gotten trained, seen how they can do their work, accommodating their disabilities, and then help them transition into civilian roles outside of Pride. So we have room for additional employees to come on and help them. Success isn't always staying here at Pride forever. It might be moving on to another employer and really being successful there and supported by our Pride counselors on another role. It definitely expands our ability to help additional people. But as we grow and bring on additional services, work that we can do, we want to expand our ability to hire additional people with disabilities and veterans and continue that theme there of helping them be successful.
Well, I think everything that you're doing is definitely paying forward and coming back. And I want to commend Pride Industries for all that you've done, all that you're doing, and congratulate you again for being a top Milspouse employer. And I'm sure you're also a employer of choice for veterans as well. And that I wish you the best. And I hope there is another 60. And for those that are there, I'm sure they're proud to be part of Pride Industries. Thank you so much for this interview. And I look forward to maybe meeting you all one day, and you'll definitely be reading your story.
That sounds great. Thanks, Mona Lisa. Appreciate it.
You got it. All right. You take care.
All right.
Bye, everyone. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much
Take
for your time.
Bye-bye.